I wanted a long break from talking about City of the Wolves. Again, I'm still looking forward to playing the game and everything. Like, I'm just kind of tired of I'm just burnt out from like all the controversy and the sensationalism and the melodrama from the past couple days. Like, I really am. But anyway, and not to mention also, I gotta pack my bags because I'm leaving town for the weekend. Like, literally, like in less than 24 hours. But I got some time. Why not? So, of course, about an hour ago, at least from when I'm recording, the EVO showcase, which promised the reveal of another Fatal Fury City of the Wolves character, just happened, or it's probably still going on. Like, there's a little exhibition going on. But the reveal, of course, you look at the screen, is already set in stone. And I mean, one way or another, we knew Hokutomaru was coming. We knew Hokutomaru was coming. I do want to go and revisit something that I did talk about in the previous video that I uploaded, and that had to do with the trailers page of the Fatal Fury website. Now, it's kind of funny right off the bat, because I know about a couple of days ago, this trailer with Cristiano Ronaldo was released, and initially I saw two of those coming soon blocks right here, and now they're not there. So make what you will of that. And if I scroll down, Hokutomaru, I've been on the website pretty much since the showcase started. When I was there on the website, or here on the website if you will, Hokutomaru's information, and you just saw it right there, because when you saw like the big screen there with just Hokutomaru in the background, that's his character profile. I don't think it's up yet, but this was not here when I was on the page after the trailer played. Usually it's the case that they'll have all the character updates like profiles and trailers and all that. I had speculated that this was because the trailer, Hokutomaru's that is, was not officially uploaded to the SNK official YouTube channel. I think it is now, so that's why we have him there. But of course, I know what y'all want to see, because we were speculating about those coming soon blocks, 3 of them that we saw at the bottom of this section here. Scroll down, Houdini. So, I don't know if it was done on purpose, I don't know if it was an error, but it seems like in quite a bittersweet piece of news, we got our full roster. Seems like we got it. Yep, here we go. So as I go back to Hokutomaru's page, it still is basically just him in the background. So, profile's probably not going to be up until maybe I finish this video. And if you're wondering what I've thought about Hokutomaru's trailer, I'd like to go over here. As I sometimes typically do, once the full base roster of a fighting game, an upcoming fighting game that is revealed, I'll usually do my personal hype tier list, like how am I feeling about the characters overall. So, and let me get a Hokutomaru picture and put it there. There we go. So, let me start with Hokutomaru. With his trailer, I did like what I saw. I do like how, there's still little bits and pieces to like the quirkiness of Hokutomaru, but we can obviously see that he has matured more. The Andy influence is quite prominent in his fighting style, which Andy may not be like one of my favorite characters, but like, and I usually do pick on Andy a whole bunch because I do kind of find him, compared to most other characters like in SNK fighting games, he's pretty boring in my opinion. But that's more in the sense of like personality. Playstyle wise, fighting style, he's actually pretty good. He has a pretty cool and a pretty awesome fighting style. And just kind of seeing that mishmash with Hokutomaru was kind of cool. So there is that. Personally, I'll give him a good. I don't know why new is here. New should be so-so. So-so. But he's good. I guess let's start from the top. Matter of fact, hold up. No. You two, down here. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired. 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 I'm sick and tired of talking about it. I'm tired, okay? In case you're watching me for the first time, I'm just gonna give a rundown with this whole freaking guest character thing. With Cristiano Ronaldo, again, I am not a football or a soccer person, whatever you want to call it. I did a Cliff Notes quick research on him. I get he's super popular, has a massive following on social media, highest paid athlete several different years. I get that, cool. Reasons why I don't really care for him: number one, too controversial for my taste. Look it up yourself. I don't want to talk about it here. He's too controversial for my taste. Number two, far as like his gameplay, he represents an archetype that I am personally not a fan of, and that is non-combat athletic sports characters as playable characters. Again, you look at, like, for instance, just picking one at random, the American sports team. I only like Heavy D. I only really like Heavy D. I still think the mess with Lucky is still corny to this day. Like, any character where their gimmick is literally built around like a non-combat sport. Like I said, Brian Battler, I'll give him a pass, because at least with him, the roughhousing of football, you could make that into a fighting game character that I personally don't find all that corny, and I think they did pretty well with him, even though I was not the biggest Brian Battler fan in the beginning. Later on, I'm like, okay, he's all right. The mess with Lucky, corny. Like, I don't like it. Like, baseball character, baseball players, stuff like that, I'm not a fan of it. I am personally not a fan. That's my thing. And when it comes to Salvatore Ganacci, again, I found his trailer a lot more entertaining and better than Cristiano Ronaldo's. I find it rather cool in a ways that they have this whole thing where he's friends with Duck King and all that. But at the end of the day, as a big Duck King fan, I still wanted Duck King more. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for silly characters and some comic relief in fighting games and all that. Yes, I do think a lot of fighting game players, at least when it comes to the characters they want, take stuff way too seriously. Like, that's one of my big issues with King of Fighters 15's roster, until Sylvie came. Sylvie at least kind of added some weirdness and a little bit of kookiness and fun to the roster, where it's like most of it was just serious freaking characters. The only exception probably being a character like Shingo. It was really just that. That's another reason why I really wanted Alice in KOF 15. Really wanted Alice in this game, but I'm realistic. Alice, unfortunately, as much as I love Alice, was not really that over as a character, so I really didn't see much of a chance for her. That's just that. That's my whole thing with those two characters. I'm not crazy about them. I don't care for them. It's a very minuscule chance I'll ever play them. Do I think they ruined the game? For me, no. Do I think they ruined Fatal Fury's legacy? For me, no. They're footnote characters. Yes, I understand the same thing that everybody says. Oh, there's so many other characters, I get it. These two didn't ruin crap for me, except for the fact that I just don't care for them. It's two characters I don't give two flips about. It's really just that. That's really it. Two characters I don't give two flips about, honestly. Like, if this roster was full of a bunch of other characters I didn't care about, I'd probably be a little bit sour. Because even though I picked up Tekken 8, and I'm not going to get deep into Tekken 8 because I am not that far immersed in Tekken, to be honest, but I'm just bringing it up as an example. I'm kind of regretting it because I only enjoy playing one character, and that's Azucena. If City of the Wolves had that same issue, I would probably be on the fence. That's enough. I don't want to talk about these two anymore on this channel, except for like maybe some fun trivia down the line, if that's the case, or if I'm like putting some content together for informational purposes. I don't want to talk about these two anymore. Ooh, but you have to fight them in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. I'll kick the piss out of them and move on. Next. Rock is, he's good, but I personally feel somewhere in the middle here. I didn't play any Rock in the beta. I'm not like the biggest Rock fan. I don't think he's bland or corny like a lot of SNK fans tend to, or at least like a huge selection tend to. There is a coolness to him that I do like. I'll just put him in so-so because if I play him, it'll be for giggles. Terry, about the same. Terry, about the same. I've missed you, Hotaru. You're gonna be a strong good. I've missed you. Even though it's been frustrating fighting people in the beta that are really good with her, especially when I was freaking playing T-Zoc. Like, at least, you know, Hotaru is still a very charming character. She looks really strong, looks really fun. I'll pick her up or whatnot. Not quite a top main right now, but she is good. You up here. I talked about this in the last beta video. Y'all that have been watching me for a minute know I'm a wrestling fan. I think T-Zoc is a very cool wrestling character. You know, despite the fact there were a whole bunch of like really annoying matchups in the beta that I played, or at least far as like the people that I ran into, despite that, he's still very fun. Whenever I overcame some very annoying matchups, I felt proud of myself when I did it with T-Zoc. So he's gonna be a top main. He was always gonna be. You up here. If I was doing like an early hype tier list, I would have probably put Preacher down here. Like, y'all that have been following me know that I really was not feeling this character upon reveal. Then when I saw more clips of her, you know, bumped up to maybe here, because I like her quirky personality. I like just, you know, the whole nerdy thing and all that. And when I saw like more of her playstyle, when she got like her own standalone trailer, it went to here. Cause, you know, I'm not a Joe fan in any case whatsoever, which by the way, I need to make a mental note. Use your imagination, but, or I could probably like grab like some freaking, I'll grab some pictures and I'll do it. But I gotta remember I wanna do the DLC too. Even though we're not gonna see him for a minute. But yeah, Preacher, once I picked her up just wondering how the character is, turned out to be one of the most fun characters in the game. Like for me personally, these two are very close, but if you asked me to pick one character who I thought was the most fun out of those that were in the beta for me personally, Preacher would inch it out by just a little bit, only because playing those T-Zoc matchups was annoying as hell. Marco, you're good. Below those two though. I'll have to play him. Maybe he might come up to here, but I'm glad to see him finally, because again, I feel like SNK dropped the ball at bringing him to freaking KOF 15. They could have brought him in there and he could have been almost kind of like something of a harbinger for the, you know, arrival of a new Fatal Fury perhaps. But, you know, we finally got him back. From his trailer, he looks fun. It's just, maybe similar to Preacher, maybe I'll change my mind down the line. We'll see. I did not play a lot of B Jenny and I kind of regret it, but I do like what I've been seeing, so I do like Jenny's gameplay just on paper more so than Marco's, but since I haven't really had any hands-on experience as far as like playing her, despite the fact, you know, the two betas, because again, these two characters were just so much fun. I played them for 90% of the time. I'll put B Jenny above Marco, but below Hokutomaru, because Hokutomaru was wicked. He was wicked. Vox is kind of in that same category. The thing is, I fought against a bunch of Voxes throughout both betas, and I like what I saw. This dude is going to be a wrecking machine when this game comes out. I can see myself definitely playing him. I like Vox Reaper's look. I like his vibe and everything. Put him in between those two. Vox is cool. Ever since his debut in Garo, as far as like playable, I have never been a fan of Kevin. I hate him. Oh my God, Kevin. Up here, down here. I just don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. Ugh. The only reason I put him at the very bottom is because, again, it's not... He doesn't invoke the same ire from me compared to those two characters, to be honest. And on top of that, there's probably going to be a moment in time where I'm probably, if he turns out to be as annoying, hopefully not as broken as he was in Garo, Mark of the Wolves, but it's like, if it gets to that point, I could see myself playing Kevin as a matter of, or like in the sense of one of my favorite ways to learn matchups or learn characters that give me trouble, and that's, if you're struggling with the character, play the character yourself. That will probably happen. Billy, from what I saw of his trailer, he was pretty good. I don't know if I was blown really away by him all that much. He can go so-so, but like in the middle of those two. Mai was a top main of mine. She's still fun. She's still really, really fun. You know what? She can still be a top main just below those two. Because I did play Mai a little bit in the beginning of the very first open beta. And then, like, when I kind of got tired of Mai, I'm like, let me try to find somebody else. And then that's when the whole Preacher thing happened. Mai is still fun. She's still very fun. It's just Preacher and T-Zoc just turned out to be more fun to me personally than Mai. That could change, you know, who knows. Kim Dong-won can go over here. You know, I like what I saw from him. Trailer was very promising, as far as like, you know, whether or not he's going to be a strong character. But it is pretty crazy to me that we're not getting him and his brother together. It's still weird. I touched on this lightly like in one of my previous uploads because I don't know. Again, there is no spiritual established law where it's like you gotta have both siblings. You gotta, like, there's nothing out there that says that. Nothing whatsoever. But nevertheless, it doesn't make it feel any less weird. It actually. So I wonder, is like between the two brothers, like, is he about to get the big storyline push? Kim Dong-won? That's who's getting the push? I'd like to see how that goes over. Now, granted, I will say this. One thing that a lot of people get wrong, in my opinion, when it comes to all this hysteria and everything, just because you don't see like certain notable characters, they're still going to have a role in the story. Kevin's right there, so obviously Freeman is going to be around the corner. Would I have loved to have Freeman earlier? Absolutely, but unfortunately not. See, with me, I understand everybody clings very much to their favorite characters and all that, and believe me, I do it too. But at the same time, nowadays, my whole thing is this. If you're not going to give me my favorite character, give me somebody else. Give me somebody else interesting. And I mean, so far, at least for me, City of the Wolves has done that. I got 3 up there at the top that are pretty much going to be mains for me. You know, there might not be no Freeman right now, but hey, I got something to hold me over until then, and that's cool. But at the same time, you know, I think even though these characters are not playable yet, depending on how the story is going to be presented and how much they're going to really go into it, these characters that got excluded, they're going to still have a role one way or another. At least, I just thought about some, at least like when it comes to like the actual, you know, Fatal Fury characters or whatnot. Because with the guest characters, I mean, like I said, the Duck King thing, that's cool with freaking, I mean, it makes sense, obviously. You know, I could see him being friends with Duck King, but until such a time, if SNK decides to get on some coke and they actually push one of these two characters to being canonically the ones to take out the big bad, for me, nothing's ruined. For me, nothing's ruined. That's just me talking. Anyways, I want to get back away from all that hysteria, please. We got 2 more characters. Gato up here alongside your sister. Of all the characters that I've seen trailers of that I did not get a chance to play in either beta because he wasn't there, Gato to me has probably the most promise. Gato could end up being up here in the future later on, but as of right now, his trailer may be my favorite overall. But again, it's like I gotta get behind the wheel and see like what he feels like, because it could be a totally different story. It could be a totally different story. And finally, we got Mr. Kine or Heinlein. Kine is impressive. I'm trying not to be too influenced by the T-Zoc matchup because the mess is kind of a nightmare. Kine can go here for me personally. I know there's definitely going to be a point where I pick him up. That said, he's a really cool character still. Playstyle is kind of wild. It's just that I feel like if I play Kine, it's going to be once again more so about hopefully getting better with the T-Zoc matchup, because that right there is definitely one of his worst matchups. Definitely one of his worst matchups. And that right there is the long and short of it. This right here is one reason. I'm gonna give this right here is basically gonna be my final thoughts about City of the Wolves at this point. So I'm pretty sure the SNK swerve that some people were hoping for is not gonna happen. It was cope and it didn't happen. I'm so sorry. Final thoughts on City of the Wolves is this. SNK was doing so well with the marketing, but as I mentioned in a previous video, they did not stick the landing with this. They did not. They did. Oh my God, I almost forgot yet again. So give me a minute. I'm gonna get some images of the DLC characters and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we finally got the DLC. I apologize for the fact that Ken and Chun are kind of cut off at the head there, but I just took a moment just to try to find some images instead of just telling you all to use your imagination. But with that being said, you two, at this point in time, again, they are not amongst my favorite Fatal Fury characters. In fact, I'm very ambivalent about them, so down here. That could easily change. It depends on like how they're presented, because I definitely would love to see how they're differentiated from their students or whatnot. But like I said, those two are characters that I really just don't care much for, so Ken and Chun, I'm looking forward to. Put them down here. Like I said, I gotta see more. I've gotta see more. Mr. Big can go right here. I like the fact that they are playing into that, shared universe and everything. I'm really glad for that. I can't wait to see how he fares. I can't wait to see like where he's gonna come in on the story, because even though he's DLC, I'm pretty sure like in the main story he's gonna come in somewhere. He is going to. And now we're done. So I'm just gonna kick my thoughts about freaking City of the Wolves and everything. As you look at like my hype tier list, this is the reason why I'm not like canceling the game. I said it earlier, I'm gonna just say it one more time. If City of the Wolves had the one big problem that I personally have with Tekken 8, and that's the fact that I'm only interested in one character, then, the two guest characters would have probably been a lot more of a harder punch to the gut for me. Because now it's like, okay, can I possibly get some other characters that I'm interested in? Can I? But like I said, I got 3 that I know I'm gonna play, and there's a whole chunk of them that I find good, and everybody else is either so-so or I just really don't care. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And again, like I mentioned, there's other stuff to be invested in. I wanted SNK to fix the matchmaking from the first open beta test, and they did. Thank you. I'm interested in the story. Cool. I'm interested to see all the other single player content, because if there's anything that definitely needs to happen with fighting games, if you want to appeal to casuals, you all have to diversify your single player content. You can't just sit over here and put on training wheel controls, and I'm not saying take that stuff away. By all means, don't. Some people, like, that's how you get people to learn the game, and who knows? Through the learning process, they may actually grow to love the game a lot more. I'm not saying take away training wheel type of casual beginner friendly controls or whatnot. They can stay, long as you don't make them obnoxious and silly. But my whole thing is, you're gonna have to do more than that. Diversify your single player content. Get creative, okay? I know everybody gets on freaking Mortal Kombat's case then. I'm gonna say it again. Chess Combat was one of the most creative single player modes in a fighting game ever. That still kept the fighting game element there. Because I've seen some people saying, why do fighting games have to be like every other genre? Talking about the fact like Mortal Kombat having a Mario Kart mode, the whole Fall Guys mode that freaking Grand Blue Fantasy Versus has, like stuff like that. People make fun of that stuff, but I'm like, that is diversifying your single player content. Whether you want to go into a whole nother genre, or whether you want to take the game's fighting mechanics and like mess around with them, have like some fun extreme mode or whatnot, that's cool. But diversify your single player content. That is another way to keep casuals around. You're not going to keep the casuals around for a good time just because you gave them the training wheels, okay? Just saying. Once again, you don't have to get rid of them, but you got to do some more. Diversify your single player content. Most fighting games have trash single player. They've been doing the same single player stuff for decades. Switch it up. Switch it up. That's why Smash is loved so much, even though the FGC loves to hate on it whenever it basically gets an award, like a fighting game based award. Anytime it's given best fighting game, it's not a real fighting game. You wanna know why they win the awards? Because Smash and some of these other games that are like not traditional fighters, or they're not FGC type fighting games, it's because they have stuff for the casual audience that's not the same 6 or 5 modes. It's not just arcade, time attack, survival, diversify stuff. And I'm glad SNK is doing that with City of the Wolves, and I'm looking forward to seeing how well that goes over with episodes of Southtown and things of that matter. There's still stuff that I'm heavily invested in when it comes to this game, even with 2 ginormous, big, like whatever you want to call them, ink blots, dark spots, whatever you want to call them, screw ups. I'm still looking forward to it. Like, I would be more off of the freaking City of the Wolves hype train if matchmaking was still piss poor. And I still don't get why people think like, you know, complaining about netcode and matchmaking isn't a big freaking deal when that is a feature of the game's functionality. I ain't buying no game that doesn't have functioning features. You got online in your game, have functioning matchmaking, have solid netcode. You got an arcade mode in your stuff, you got some other modes or whatnot, make sure that mess is solid to where it's not crashing in the middle of the game and leaving people confused. Those of you who play King of Fighters 15 arcade mode religiously and kept like playing it, and after that one patch that happened where there'd be these random crashes to where people couldn't even complete the freaking story mode, you know what I'm talking about. Like, people want to talk about accepting better content and accepting better games when it comes to like just the characters or whatnot. Make sure to expect better freaking from the games when it comes to functionality. Do that too. But that's really all I gotta say. I'm still looking forward to it, even though there's some massive duds here. There's some other nitpicks that I had with the game coming out of the second open beta, which again, I know that can be fixed with a patch or something. But like, hey, I got more to look forward to with City of the Wolves than not. Like, again, you can do whatever you want with your money. I'm not here to do this influencer crap. I don't want to be I don't want to be associated with influencers. Not so much just the people themselves, because I know some people, like content creators that I follow that are also influencers, that are actually real cool people. This isn't a diss to them. It's just I would much rather not be associated with this influencer culture, because influencers are basically there to push a product. That's what they're there for, to push a product. Push a product and get you to buy it. That's not what I want to do. I encourage everybody, whatever it is you want to do with your money, do it. You want to still get City of the Wolves? Do it. You want to boycott the game? Do it. You want to cancel your pre-order? Do it. I'm just here making content and giving my opinion. That's it. The stuff that I don't stand for is a lot of the finger wagging that I've been seeing. I mentioned this in my community post. I'm not rocking with that. Just because somebody enjoys something that you don't go finger wagging. Again, for the most part, it's not everybody. This fandom is mostly incapable of disagreeing without being disagreeable. That's the reason why I really haven't wanted to talk about City of the Wolves. But I'm still looking forward to it. Like I said, YDY, as I say, you do you. That's all I gotta say for it. What do y'all think? You still gonna get City of the Wolves? You boycotting? You cancel your pre-orders? You gonna wait till a discount? Let me know in the comments, and until next time. Oh yeah, one more thing. When I started the prediction series, I had a couple of people that were on my case in my prediction videos for the City of the Wolves roster that got on my case because I didn't pick many women for my prediction. All I gotta say is this. In case you don't know, I have never worked for SNK. I've never talked to anybody at SNK as far as like business decisions or none of that stuff. I am a lowly content creator that just gives his opinion about fighting games and also loves to make informational content. That's all I do, alright? I'm not gonna go into this too much. All I gotta say is this. For those of you that complain to me about not including many women in my prediction, which, by the way, prediction isn't what I personally want. I made a whole nother video about that, but I'm pretty sure y'all didn't watch it. Because last time I checked, SNK are the ones that decide the characters for this game. If it was up to me, y'all would have got Tsugumi Sendo and Alice on the main roster instead of Ronaldo and freaking Ganachi. That's what I would have done. I've never dealt with SNK as far as any business dealings. I don't know anybody that works in SNK. SNK probably doesn't even know who I am. Y'all call Salvatore Ganacci a nobody. I'm a nobody. But I just thought about that as well then. If you're really mad about the lack of women in Fatal Fury, I really hope you're getting SNK's face about that too. I really hope you're bringing it to them too. Because bringing the freaking energy to some freaking content creator that has no power, no pull, no influence, and no position at SNK, it'll make one lick of damn sense. That's it. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. Be cool to each other. And stay cool by staying hydrated. Ciao.